Alright, who's up for some low-hanging fruit? Because I know I am. It's been a while since I've responded to some low-hanging fruit. So, what better than some fistful of feminism? Actually, funnily enough, it's not Marina Shut Up. It's some woman who is trying to be like Marina Shut Up with the fistful of feminism thing. I mean, does she know that that's already taken? But hey, whatever. You know what? Let's have some snarky fun.
Trying a new angle. Mostly because the poster fell down.
Quirky.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fistful of Feminism. My name is Monica, and today I want to talk about allyship. This is the first in a lot of videos that I think I'm going to be making about allyship. This was one of the most requested videos that I've had from a lot of people is about allyship and things like when to speak, when not to speak, when to step back, when to listen.
You see, male feminists, why bother? Why bother trying to be an ally when you have to do all these things? You have to figure out all these things like when not to listen, when to speak, when not to speak. Like, since when was it their decision as to when you lot should speak and not speak, and when to listen and when not to listen? Like, seriously, you're individuals. You all should be able to just figure that out amongst yourselves when you're already talking. Jesus, this is why authoritarian supremacy movements are terrible for the people that they're actually against, but yet need to recruit allies from. You know, it's like working for the Romans. You get all of the benefits of trade and you might end up defeating your tribal enemy, but eventually they're just going to come for you. So what's the point?
What allies can do, especially after the US election. What allies can do to intervene in situations and things like that.
Because you know, a strong independent women who don't need no men, they need your help. They can't do it on their own. They're just ladies.
Usually in videos like this, I will give a long list of things that you can do, ways that you can take action, but for this video, I felt like I needed to say something else.
Could have said it a couple minutes ago, actually, so why am I getting this long, descriptive introduction? I really don't need this. This isn't an essay where you're going to tell the invigilator what you're going to do, alright? Come on, this isn't high school, this is YouTube.
And the reason for this is that there are a lot of resources online, especially a lot of resources written by women of color, specifically talking about this exact subject. And I think a lot of that goes ignored because a lot of the content of those lists are not what people want to hear. So this video is going to be pretty blunt, pretty honest to me, and maybe not what other POC folks would tell you.
Now, you see, I wonder why these people don't want to hear these things about allyship. It could possibly be that they're very limiting. They force you to submit. They force you to basically be under the whim of these people and to follow their every lead and not think for yourself. I can see why people don't like this. Maybe it tells them to do things they don't want to do because it actually might be harmful to them and your movement. But because they're POCs and because they're women, that means that their word, because it's their movement, or at least they're part of the movement, because you know white feminism is a bad thing, that means that they are the leaders and you lot have to follow. And apparently that's hard for some people to take, so why don't they just leave? Makes sense, right? But hey, I don't know. Let's just continue. I still can't believe we're in the intro and I'm already trying to think of things to say.
It depends on our situations, but I've come up with a couple of things that I'd like to say to allies, and I'd like to keep this thread of videos going because I think it's going to be ever evolving. So, dear allies, it's not a competition on how much you know about oppression. I'm not interested in you explaining to me my oppression. I'm not interested in hearing that you get it.
We see, you're not oppressed, so even you don't get it. You're a woman living in America or Canada, I don't know what your accent is, but North America, the rich bit. You are the majority of university applicants and graduates. You have the whole education system pretty much catered to you. You have more opportunities. You're given more opportunities through affirmative action and quotas and things like that. You also have all the rights when it comes to rearing children. your own bodies. FGM is illegal in America, but MGM is not, despite all the negatives associated with that, because apparently it doesn't do anything. Also, let's not forget divorce courts. You are automatically going to be the one who receives the military benefits and not the man, because you're a woman. That's basically it. And you're apparently oppressed. Well, why can't this person just talk to you about oppression or your oppression? What's wrong with that? Do you feel you're being lectured? Because nobody likes being lectured, but aren't you lecturing these people? Isn't that all you guys ever do to allies, to browbeat them? You lecture them about how horrible they are and what they can do to repent. I mean, come on. That doesn't seem fair. That seems a little bit of a double standard.
That you have read about it, that you are woke, that you understand.
Well, okay, if you don't find it interesting that this guy, because it is guy, it's men that she's talking to, get it, then what are you interested in? Aren't you at least happy? You don't even seem happy that they get it, that they empathise with you. But the empathy and feminists, yeah, they don't go hand in hand unless it's with other women that they like. Because if they don't like you and you're a woman, you don't deserve that empathy.
I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in a conversation that will actually go somewhere, a conversation that actually centers my experience, if we're talking about my experience, or the experiences of women of color that we're talking about. I'm interested in the experiences of the folks that are underrepresented. I don't care or want you to prove to me that you are woke or that you understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, I get it. You want 100% control of the conversation. You are, of course, the oppressed individual, so of course you would want that. It is your movement. It is for you. The supremacy of you, a woman. You are a feminist, after all. So, it stands to reason that you would want that. But at the same time, do you not understand why this guy, this ally, do you not understand why he feels the need, if he's not one of the creepers, like Russian Deadpool, why he feels the need to prove to you how loyal he is? Because all you ever do is say how bad men are, and the patriarchy, and how bad that is, and how everything bad leads to masculinity. He's trying to prove to you that he's not like that. He's trying to prove to you that he gets it, he's empathetic towards you, he's sympathetic towards you. He's trying to prove how good an ally he is, how good a feminist he is. But you're not letting him do that. You can't even acknowledge that. You don't seem to be interested in the fact that this guy cares. You seem more interested just to use him as a meat shield, as a tool. That's the vibe I'm getting here. And it's not very healthy, is it? No wonder a lot of them are depressed and cookish and simpish. I don't blame them for that, because they're trying so hard to please you when they really should just walk away if you're not interested. But then again, you guys would just go, no, come back, we need you, we're alone, we can't do it.
If you understand, then just carry on the conversation. And if you truly understand, you'll know that you need to step back a lot of the time and just listen.
Remember, they're just tools. Listen, because you're tools, alright? You guys are the oppressors, so to prove to us that you're not the oppressors, listen and believe. That's all you need to do. You will be used by us for our own whims. That's exactly what it is, right? What's the point in having allies then if all they have to do is listen? What are they going to do? If they can't provide something constructive, if they can't provide maybe, I don't know, a male perspective on things so you can better understand the mythical patriarchy, maybe that could help you. Maybe these people have a viewpoint. Oh, wait, yeah, exactly, a viewpoint. Because they have a different viewpoint that you guys won't like on basis of them being male or an ally. You don't want it, because it'll interfere with the echo chamber, obviously. So it's all about that, isn't it? Why am I not surprised?
So a lot of the time, I feel like allies feel like they need to prove that they know what's going on. But I think that true allies, and I feel like I'm gonna be getting away from the word allies because it's just been too butchered for me to really trust it anymore.
You know, as much as you never would have trusted men anyway, I understand completely. When you've got people like Russian Deadpool, Devon Ferrassi, and all these other men who claim to be amazing feminists who support you in any way, every way, but turn out to be murderers, potential sexual offenders, paedophiles, actual rapists. Yeah, I can see why you would be hesitant to use that term and to trust it. And it's your own fault for making the other ones who aren't like that have to prove their worth because of your rhetoric. You're making men evil and horrible and everything about them is oppressive, and these guys are trying to prove that they're not like that, they're woke. And Now you're complaining about that. What can they do? They're trying to do actual activism. You tell them to shut up and listen, so they can't really do anything. So then what are they supposed to do? They think, well, I'll prove my worth, then I can be part of the conversation. But you don't want them to be a part of the conversation. They're just tools to you. Jesus. No wonder these guys are just all over the place.
But true allies are looking to not put themselves in the center of attention. True allies are looking to be there to do the hard work that's necessary and to not have to prove that they've read the same articles as me, or they know what whitewashing is, or they know what intersectionality means. I don't care. I don't care.
I get it. These allies are merely tools for your whims. That's essentially been the vibe I've been getting from you. These guys are nothing more than cannon fodder. These are guys that once it ever does end up happening, your utopia finally happens, these people will be the useful idiots that you put against the wall and shoot, right? That's essentially what those guys are. Again, I beseech you, what is the point?
Another thing that I think that allies need to hear is you don't always get to joke about the same things I get to joke about.
Oh, I love this. Your freedom of speech is not allowed. You cannot say this because you're a man or a white person. So if a black person was to make a joke about black people, that is more acceptable when they say it, the white person can't say that. And vice versa when it comes to men and women. Again, you're just tools. You can't really say anything, you can't really be productive. It's more like follow orders, do this, do all the hard work that we don't want to do, even though we could do it. We always claim we can do it, but we don't, and we'll get along nicely. And also, don't kill us, don't rape us, don't use us for sex, please, right?
There's a huge difference between me making a joke and poking fun at the things that oppress me, and you doing it.
Well, you're not even oppressed. But why is there a difference? Surely, as him being the gender that is the oppressor, it would be better for him to poke fun at other guys than you. Why? If you're both taking the piss out of the oppressor, then that's a good thing, right? How is I even haram?
A lot of that is just tact. So it's one of those things where if I've experienced it, I get to speak to it. If you have not, you don't get to speak to it in the same way.
But yeah, it's totally fine for you guys to then say that you know everything about masculinity and men's experiences and issues, right? And do nothing about it and joke about these things. Hypocrisy much? And even then, how? None of this makes sense. The joke's against an oppressor, right? You guys are all in favour of punching up rather than punching down. Is it because he is up there compared to you?
I feel like this is so common knowledge, or at least it should be, but it just doesn't seem to be a very common thing.
Well, no shit. People are going to joke about things they're going to joke about, and they have a problem when people tell them not to do things. Unless they are truly cooks, and they will whimper, oh, I'm sorry, I will never do that again, I apologise. But they're just jokes. They don't mean anything. They're not serious. They're just jokes. If you're taking jokes seriously in that sense, you need help, love. You need serious help. I mean, when was the last time you saw a psychiatrist?
In my communities where people are allies. So, yeah, it's not funny when you make the jokes.
You see, a joke isn't funny because a certain person says it. A joke isn't funny because a joke isn't funny.
Dear allies, you need to follow through on the things that you say. I don't particularly care if you say that something is feminist or that something is revolutionary or that it's anti-racist or decolonizing. I care if that's backed up with action.
That's funny because actual feminists do this all the time. Most of you do this. Whether it's, oh, we claim to be for men's rights. We are definitely for all men's rights. We're egalitarians, but we only ever see you campaigning against the men's rights and just exclusively campaigning for women's rights. And yet you claim to be for that, yet your actions suggest otherwise. Then you claim you're an equality movement, yet again, your actions suggest otherwise. In fact, your inaction on the thing that you claim to be is the reason why most people who are against you, and why most people in today's world simply don't want to be called feminists. I find that extremely ironic that you're attacking allies for inaction when you are essentially the party of inaction. You literally cannot do the things that you claim you're gonna do.
And with the action that is appropriate. If you're saying these things, but not willing to actually follow through on it, and not willing to be called in or called out about it, that's not true allyship. Just stating that you know what it means doesn't mean you're doing the hard work to actually make it happen.
I wish I could take this seriously, but that's all feminists do. You're just projecting. I fail to see how you, or at least the movement as a whole, can dictate what is a true ally. I mean, you guys literally fight amongst yourselves to decide if men can actually be feminists or they're just allies. I think it's clear from what I can gather from you that men aren't feminists. They can't be feminists, they're just allies. They're auxiliaries. Again, you're the Roman Empire and they're the auxiliaries or the tribal allies, and eventually they're just going to get conquered. So what's the point?
And I have absolutely been guilty of this. I'm always learning along the way. Do you think I really understood words like anti-racism or decolonizing when I was first starting out? No, I didn't. And I needed to be called out by people in order to understand that I wasn't doing a good enough job.
You see, it can't just be informing somebody, it has to be calling them out. Is this literally what you guys do? You browbeat people into saying, no, this is what it is, this is what it is, and if you can't agree with that, you're out. Is that essentially what you're saying? Because nobody calls somebody out when they're trying to correct a mistake. They inform, they correct, they show them. They don't call them out. And it's pretty clear that you guys don't understand these terms anyway. I mean, if you did, you wouldn't be sexist and you wouldn't be racist, but I guess that's another video for another day, right? And it's nice to know that you are actually one of the few that have admitted to doing what I accused you guys of doing, which is inaction, not getting things. I can at least grant you that. Well done, girl. You get a thumbs up from me.
And in a lot of ways, I still don't think I'm doing enough. And that's why I'm continuing my education and listening to other people and going to events in which I don't speak. I'm there to listen and to learn because that is my responsibility.
Again, listen to believe. Be brainwashed further into the cult. Allies, do you really want to be brainwashed, or do you want to be an active participant where your voice isn't equal? Because these people aren't for equality if your voice is not unequal. I'm just saying, guys.
And I will always be striving to do more. There's never a point in which in this work you just hit the top and you know everything. That's just not how it works. That's not how it works for POC folks, so that's definitely not going to be how it works for allies.
Yeah, I'm wearing my jacket now because I feel like it. You know, that's all well and good. You want to learn more, but you're only learning from one source, one ideology, and that just makes you more of an ideologue. Do you not want to broaden your horizons and learn about new things, which might give you more perspectives and might actually change your movement for the better? But hey, you know what? That's fine. That's fine. You know, you want to be brainwashed. That's fine. Do you. I'll do me.
It should be an obvious one, but dear allies, if you're speaking more than the people that you're actually speaking about, you're doing it wrong.
You see, this is the same thing that props up over and over again. You can't talk more than the person or persons you're meant to be defending or talking about. Why? Well, it's simple, because the supremacy movement, there's got to be a hierarchy, and also, let's not forget, that these guys are considered the oppressors still. They are the oppressors. They will be thrown against the wall. They can't be seen to be taking over, because if they're taking over, then that's just patriarchy, innit, mate? Also, again, you know, these guys aren't for free speech. These guys aren't for any other viewpoint that might change their minds. Oh, God, no, we don't want to change their minds. We want to change the plebs' minds. It's control. They want to control these guys. These guys are tools. Allies are tools, a means to an end. In many ways, it's kind of like, you know, they love to go on about how racists or perceived racists will say, I'm not racist, I've got a black friend. Well, male allies are exactly that. Oh, I'm not sexist. Look, I've got a male feminist or an ally. They wouldn't be here if we weren't sexist, even though while they're saying that, this guy is basically a tool and can't say what he wants to say because he's an ally, he's a man. That's exactly what you male allies are there for. You are tools, you're meant to make them look better. And you talking above them, going beyond your station, that makes them look bad, doesn't it?
Don't speak over us. Let us speak. Let us not speak as well and understand your own place in all of this.
Listen to the language, male allies. Listen to the language, and also feminists too. You might learn something. How is an oppressed person speaking like an oppressor? Know your place is essentially what she said. Know your place. Oppressed people don't say that. Why would an oppressed person who's seeking freedom lecture someone on how to talk to them, when not to talk to them, when not to do this, when not to do that? Do you think Martin Luther King, when he was fighting against segregation and for civil rights, did he turn to white liberals or anybody who was his ally? Doesn't matter. Would he turn around and say, don't talk to me like this, don't talk to me like that, don't do this, don't do that? No, he didn't, did he? He valued them. It was people like Malcolm X that was doing that, sowing seeds of discontent and saying that they're no better than the segregationists. You are Malcolm X, and in a bad way. You guys are the ones doing that. You are oppressed. Oppressed people do not talk like that. They will gladly take any help they can get. They would not dictate to these people what they can and cannot do, because that's what an oppressor does, right? You are a supremacy movement. You guys already have everything that you possibly could be fighting for, and now you're just trying to get more stuff. It's basically that. And these guys are tools. These guys are your weapons, and tools, weapons, even slaves even, are not supposed to just talk back to you. They're not supposed to have their own mind. No, they're not, are they? That's what you're saying. You're not oppressed. You wish you were oppressed.
Dear allies, I'm not your walking educational tool. Yes, I have chosen to put out videos like this. I've chosen to speak with people about these issues, but if you really want me to educate you, pay me.
So are you saying that you simply want to economically benefit from these people, want to take advantage of these guys' guilt to make money off them so they can learn from you? What could you possibly give me if I were a male ally that would be worth the money, that would be worth spending my hard-earned pounds on you to educate me? And why is the onus necessarily on me when I'm the one who's not supposed to know everything?
And I know that sounds kind of bizarre when we're talking about anti-capitalism and anti-oppression.
I know, right? Isn't that weird? It's almost if you like using the system to make money, as if that's all this is all about, making money. See, I always thought you guys weren't true fucking Marxists because you guys just have a propensity for cashing in on this movement. Surely you'd be not for profit, or at least in the Anita Sarkeesian vein, right? But no, you guys just love making money, especially off of guys, especially off of white people, reparations and all that. Like, you just love the cash, you love the green. And yeah, it is kind of funny. And you seem almost self-aware of that. But I think this is just excuse making incoming, guys.
But how it stands right now, people extract knowledge from POC folks. They extract knowledge for their own gain and don't recognize or don't compensate the POC folks that they're actually extracting the knowledge from.
Extracting knowledge. It's if these people just prospectors, they're like the Spanish conquistadors, that are just taking resources off of the Aztec Empire, who in turn actually took resources off the tribes before them, who they conquered, oppressed and executed, but whatever, that's the point. It's like, because you're having a free exchange of ideas, well, really it's a one-way exchange, because you want to learn how they're all oppressed and all that, they should be paid. Why? Not all knowledge ought to be paid for. There's a reason why Wikipedia exists. There's a reason why we have online encyclopedias. These things are done free of charge for people to go in and out of whenever they see fit. I mean, obviously there is a donation thing. You can donate to these people, like libraries. Libraries allow you to take books for a limited time, free of charge, if you have a library card, and library cards don't tend to cost much, if anything at all. Why do these people have to be paid? You see, the thing is, you're only anti-capitalist insofar as you don't want other people making money off of things you don't like. This is why we'll see the Brain Trust always going on about how Bering, Sargon and everybody else makes loads of money off of criticism of their ideology, but they turn the other cheek when people like Gloria Steinem, Bell Hooks, Nate Sarkeesian, all these others make thousands, millions on their activism, on their ideology, their books, their tours, their speeches. They turn a blind eye to all that because that's okay. That is capitalism, that is okay in their books. So this is why I really don't think they're really anti-capitalist. I think they really just don't want things to be made money out of that they don't like. That's why I hesitate to call them full-blown Marxist. Well, I guess neo-Marxist fits, but they're like pro-capitalist. It's very strange.
And using knowledge for your own gain versus the gain of the people that you're actually supposedly trying to help is so fucked up.
First, you actually have to prove a level of intent. How do you know that these people are using it for their own gain? What is their gain? What are these guys gain? What could they possibly gain from all this knowledge? Are you trying to suggest that potentially these guys are going to use it against you for the patriarchy, or are they trying to make money off of it? Are they trying to get in there and find some free pussy or something like that? Is that what you're trying to suggest? I don't know. You'll be very vague. What if their gain is to form their own kind of little feminist thing or civil rights thing? Then Is that really for their own gain, or is it for the gain of those people? It's kind of like individualism versus collectivism here, from what I can gather. And you don't really like the idea of individuals doing their own thing now, do you? You want it for the collective, for the Soviet, right? Well, you claim that, but you're making excuses for how you guys ought to make money and why people should be compensated for giving knowledge, fucking ideas that don't cost a thing.
If you don't want to do this, then you need to credit the people that you are speaking to when you're gaining knowledge. So just think of it like an essay. If you're talking to someone about something that a POC person has taught you, you credit them when you put it in your essay. You don't just claim it as your own thought. You don't get to claim that you are somehow this incredibly woke person on your own.
And yet these POCs don't get to credit the other POCs that they obviously got that from, right? So why these white guys or white people have to credit that person when that idea might not be their idea? How does that work? And how in any way is this like an essay? Paying somebody for something is not the same as making a footnote or some kind of citation. That's completely different. This is a false equivalence. You just want to make excuses for being greedy capitalists. That's what you want to do. You want to make excuses for how you guys make money off of being a supremacy movement. That's essentially what it is, right? It doesn't work. We can't fall for this. We see money-grabbing con artists when we see them.
You always need to be crediting the people that you learned from. And that includes on the internet too. If you've never met them, like, it's all the more easy to just credit your sources, cite your sources. And sometimes those people will be wrong too. And that's okay.
I get what you're saying, cite sources, but this in no way is the same for giving somebody monetary reward. Unless you were buying a book, I get it, but you're not talking about buying books. You're talking about talking to a person, they give you advice and information, and then apparently you have to pay them for that? What? Jesus Christ. It seems like allies are not only just tools that you use to get activism done, but also they're just things you use to extract money from. These guys are to be used and abused for their wealth and their manpower. That's essentially what you're saying.
The whole point of trying to be an ally is understanding that it's going to be a really tough and bumpy road, but it's not as tough for you as it is for me. And that's the most important thing, is that at the end of the day, if you are a proclaimed ally, you must acknowledge that your privilege will always save you and will always keep you safe.
Oh, isn't that grand? They have to basically acknowledge their original sin, which is privilege. Even though, from what I've already said before, they're not very privileged and you are the privileged one. I mean, how can they truly be safe when most of the victims of violence in the world are men? Most of the war deaths, which I guess that comes under violence, they're men. Men have to be drafted. Men have to fight most of the time, even though women are now becoming more and more common in the army and frontline forces. Why is it that their health is considered of less importance to female health? Why is it that when men are being domestically abused, if you even believe in that, why is it that they don't have enough shelters? Why is there in America only 1 or 2? How come that is not taken as seriously? How come there's not enough resources for them? How come it's ignored? How come men are even laughed at for being victims of that? How come male rape victims are not considered male rape victims if a woman does it in most countries in the West? Again, why are they victim blamed and seen as if they want it? How come female paedophiles are not taken seriously and then male victims, again, victim blamed at all costs, they wanted it, they're men. They love sex, right? How would you like it if I told you that and you were a female rape victim of a man? Their privilege keeps them so safe that they're more likely to get killed. When they're raped, they're not going to be believed or taken seriously, and if they get domestically abused, they either have to suck it up and get potentially killed or beaten up, or they have to leave but face losing everything because then she'll divorce him or can lie and get him in prison. So yeah, privilege, eh? It's great being a man.
If you'd like to be an ally, put yourself out on the line for us, because we are already on the line doing the work that we do.
If you were already on the line doing what you say you do, then you wouldn't need these guys, but you constantly ask them to do these things. You can't do it without them. So it's either you can do it without them or you can't.
It's not an easy conversation to have with allies. And these are just a couple of the things that I've been thinking about and stewing about, because I've been having a lot of problems with allies in my community and allies that I know overstepping their authority on a lot of things, or talking over me, or extracting knowledge from me and not crediting me.
Oh, I can just feel the greed emanating from you. You literally just want to use these guys, and you don't like it when they say something that you don't like, or you don't like them doing things that you don't like. You are the classic authoritarian. You want to control everything. You are such an anal retentive control freak. That is what you are. You want to control these guys. You want them to bend to your will. You want to use them. No wonder you're ranting about this, because you want to control them. These men aren't meant to be anything constructive to your arguments. They're just tools. You're a greedy pig. That's what you are. And it's funny because men and the police are always called greedy pigs and things like that. But really, it's the feminists that are like that. They're the ones who love making money off of being sexist, misandrist, and even in many ways misogynist pigs. This is what they've built their fucking empires on. But it's okay for them to do so, because remember, they're oppressed and they can convince most of the world that they are.
And not understanding that that it's not about them looking good. It's about all of us working to deconstruct oppressive systems.
Please, these systems benefit you more than they benefit the male allies. If you deconstruct these so-called oppressive systems, he gains what you already have, and you lose any amount of supremacy that you've already got. It's in your best interest to keep these things in place so that you have something to complain about. You have something to benefit off while you're moaning and trying to ask for more.
Anyway, I just needed to get all of those unscripted thoughts out of my head, because I've been really frustrated and I haven't been able to properly voice this because I haven't been able to make a video. So let me know what you think, and let me know if this is helpful. If you don't find it helpful, like I said, there are resources online for you to peruse and for you to learn for yourself. But don't just expect that POC folks or underrepresented folks, queer folks, trans folks, anyone is just going to educate you on what you need to know. It's your responsibility to figure that out. And then once you've educated yourself, then we can talk. Then we can get into the action that needs to be done and the work that needs to be done. I'm very thankful for all the folks in my life who are very good allies, who stand by me and stand by my word, but even those allies mess up sometimes. I mess up sometimes too, and that's okay. But when allyship is no longer what it claims to be, and is getting into territory that is actually more dangerous for people who are marginalized.
Because we can't have people thinking for themselves, can we? And finding out that everything we tell them is a lie and be red-pilled by the evil manosphere now, can we?
Then we need to be having this conversation. Thank you all so much for watching. Leave me some comments down below to let me know what you think of allyship, where it has worked or failed, what has worked for you, what has worked for others. As always, if you like, you can subscribe and go there and da-da-da-da-da. And I will see you all not next Friday, but the Friday after that. Thank you so much. Salamat po. See you next time.
Now, I had to look up that phrase as best as I could, and apparently it's Filipino according to Google Translate, but I thought it was Arabic, but whatever. Anyway, that's the end of that video. Exhausting. Why did it go so long? But hey, I tried, guys. I tried. I'm not trying to gish gallop or anything. This is how these things turn out. So, yeah. I'll see you guys later for the next response video. It'll be shorter, I promise. I'll see you later.